You know that feeling, like you're being pulled in just a million directions at once.
Oh, absolutely. All the distractions, the deadlines.
Yeah, and that to-do list that seems to, I don't know, breed overnight, it's
Yeah.
just scatter.
It really is. Well, that feeling, that challenge of just staying focused, that's kind of the core of what we're exploring today.
Right, this thing called the Lotus method.
Exactly. And it's not, some new app or trendy hack.
No, it seems much older, rooted in Eastern philosophy.
That's right. It's about getting clarity, achieving goals, but maybe in a more intentional way.
Based on awareness, acceptance, patience, that kind of thing.
Precisely. It's a framework for working with your mind.
Which often feels like it's working against you.
Doesn't it,
Too.
Trusty? So yeah, these ancient ideas, they often start right there, understanding the mind
Yeah.
itself.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive, let's figure out this Lotus method
Yeah, break it down.
and see how we and how you listening can actually use it, Get some control back, maybe actually finish things.
Sounds good. We got a few key parts based on the sources. Understanding resistances first.
Then embracing flow.
Mm-hmm. Cultivating stillness, turning reflection into action.
And the last one, patience. That sounds important.
Crucial.
Yeah.
It really feels like a journey, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So resistance first. There's this character, Gohan.
Ah, yes, Gohan. I think a lot of people will see themselves in him.
Totally. He's got goals, right? Fitness, career, personal stuff.
No plan. Starts out motivated.
Yeah, but then, bam, resistance hits.
The wall.
Exactly. He wants to do it, but suddenly he's, I don't know, scrolling social media, putting things off.
Procrastination, maybe some self-doubt creeps in.
Yeah, all of that. It's that, gap. You intend to do it, but
Yeah.
you just don't. It's
Yeah.
frustrating.
And it's so common, isn't it? Because fundamentally, our minds often try to, well, avoid discomfort.
Makes sense. The hard task versus something easy.
Right. The path of least resistance. So faced with something tough or new, the mind just naturally drifts towards, the quick dopamine hit.
Social media, games, even just daydreaming.
Anything but the actual task sometimes.
One source used that image, the mind, as a wild monkey.
Ah, yes. Constantly leaping, restless, seeking novelty. It's a classic analogy.
And that Buddha quote feels relevant here. Your worst enemy cannot harm you as much as your own unguarded thoughts.
Powerful, isn't it, when you think about Gohan's internal battle?
Yeah. So the Lotus method, the first step isn't to, cage the monkey.
Not exactly. No, it's actually more about awareness first. Just noticing.
Noticing the resistance.
Yeah, recognizing that tendency to shy away from difficulty, to seek comfort, and seeing it as, well, just how the mind operates sometimes. It's natural.
Okay, so I don't have to beat myself up for scrolling Instagram instead of working out. That's helpful.
That's a huge part of it. Self-compassion, acknowledging it without judgment.
So for Gohan, realizing it's not a personal failing, just a tendency.
Exactly. That shift from self-criticism to just observing what's happening inside, that's the crucial first step. Understanding why you feel stuck.
Okay, awareness. Got it. But then what? How do you actually, get moving when that resistance feels like concrete?
Right. And that brings us nicely to the second part, embracing the flow.
Flow.
The idea here, drawing from Taoism, is that just constantly forcing yourself against that resistance. It might not always be the best way. It can even backfire.
This is where that Wu Wei thing comes in, from Lao Tzu.
Wu Wei, often translated as like non-resistance or effortless action.
Which honestly sounds a bit like giving up.
Yeah.
Or just being passive.
I get why you'd say that. It's a common first thought.
Yeah.
But Wu Wei isn't really about doing nothing.
No.
It's more about aligning with, well, the natural way of things. Finding a harmony so action happens without all that internal struggle and friction.
Lao Tzu said, by letting it go, it all gets done. That sounds pretty wild in our world.
It does sound paradoxical, right? Especially when we're so focused on effort and achievement.
Yeah. My brain immediately goes, let go. How does that get my project finished?
The thinking is, by stopping that internal fight, by not constantly battling the feeling of resistance, you actually free up energy. You create less mental friction.
So less energy wasted on the struggle itself.
Exactly. So instead of seeing a hard task as this enemy you have to conquer with sheer willpower,
Yeah.
you try to see it more as just part of the landscape, part of life's natural ups and downs.
Okay. Practically speaking, though, how do you embrace the flow when you're staring at a blank page or a huge pile of work?
It's subtle. But when you feel that resistance rising up,
That, ugh, I don't want to do this feeling.
yeah, that one, instead of immediately tensing up and gritting your teeth to power through, you pause.
Do pause.
Acknowledge it. Okay, this feels hard right now.
Okay.
Accept it as part of the process. And then consciously try to release that inner tension, that struggle against the feeling.
Meet it with acceptance, not battle.
Kind of, yeah, with a
Yeah.
bit more ease. And that very act, letting go of the fight, starts to create space for, well, for stillness.
Okay, that makes sense. Fighting yourself is exhausting. So awareness, then more ease and acceptance, and then cultivating stillness. What's that about?
Right, so after you start noticing the mind's habits, and you begin trying to move with things instead of constantly fighting, the next piece is learning to quiet some of that internal noise.
The monkey mind chatter.
Exactly. And this often connects to practices like Zen Buddhism, Zazen, sitting meditation.
Ah, meditation. I've tried that. My mind just felt louder almost, like a parade of thoughts.
That's super common, especially at first. The aim isn't necessarily a totally blank mind, which is, pretty much impossible for most of us.
Good to know.
It's more about developing the skill of observing those thoughts and feelings without getting swept away by them, without judging them.
Like watching clouds drift by.
That's a great image for it. There's that Zen master Dogen quote, "If you can't find the truth right where you are, where else do you expect to find it?"
Meaning the answers aren't out there, but within the stillness.
Kind of, yeah. The idea is that the clarity, the strength we're looking for, it's often already here, just obscured by all the mental clutter.
So stillness isn't the goal, it's more like a tool to get clear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think of a lake after a storm.
Yeah.
All churned up, muddy, you can't see anything.
Right.
But when the wind stops and the water becomes still, the mud settles. Everything becomes clear.
Ah, okay. So mental stillness lets the emotional junk settle down.
It allows for that, yes.
Yeah.
You get a clearer view of your thoughts, the actual challenges, the path forward,
Yeah.
without all the reactive noise.
Okay, I see the value. But
Yeah.
how does being still actually get things done? It still feels a bit passive.
That's the key connection we need to make. Stillness provides the foundation.
Yeah.
It's like the lotus roots deep down in the mud.
Okay.
Beautiful flower blooms up top, but it needs those strong, stable roots anchored in the quiet dark,
Right. The roots provide the support.
Exactly. So inner stillness builds mental clarity, focus, inner strength. It lets you approach things calmly, with perspective, not just reacting based on fleeting emotions.
A clear head leads to better decisions, better action. Makes sense. Okay, so aware of resistance, embracing flow, finding stillness. What's the next step to actually, do things?
This is where we bridge the inner and outer worlds.
Yeah.
That reflection, that clarity you gain from stillness, now it needs to turn into purposeful action.
Okay, action time.
The Lotus method really emphasizes that this clarity isn't just for, feeling peaceful internally. It needs to fuel meaningful steps towards your goals.
Like the Shaolin monks example one source mentioned, they combine deep meditation with intense physical training.
Perfect example. They really embody that connection. Mental clarity and physical discipline aren't separate. They reinforce each other.
The meditation gives focus and intention.
And the physical training builds the discipline and follow through to actually execute.
So it's not enough to just have great ideas while meditating on a cushion.
Nope. You've got to take that clarity and apply it. Act on it.
So approaching tasks like a Shaolin monk trains with precision, purpose.
Yeah, that kind of focused intention. Moving beyond just reacting to whatever pops up, and instead acting deliberately.
Prioritizing, maybe focusing on one thing at a time.
Definitely. Channeling that clear mind into consistent, intentional steps. It's the opposite of that scattered, overwhelmed feeling, trying to multitask with a frantic mind.
Right.
True mastery, from this perspective, is about that harmony, mind and body, reflection and action.
Balancing them, because too much reflection is paralysis.
Right, analysis paralysis. And too much action without thought leads to burnout or going in the wrong direction.
Got it. Integrate the stillness in the action. Okay. Aware, flow, still, action sounds solid. But what about when you're doing all that and progress still feels agonizingly slow? That's when I get really frustrated.
Yes. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound part, the art of patience.
Patience, the hardest part.
Often, yes. And the sources use that beautiful metaphor of the lotus flower itself.
How so?
Well, think about how it grows. It starts as a seed, down in the dark, muddy water.
Right. Not exactly glamorous beginnings.
No. And it slowly pushes its way up through all that muck and darkness. before finally emerging into the light and blossoming.
It takes time. You don't get an instant lotus.
Exactly. Its beauty, its whole significance is tied up in that patient journey. It blooms when it's ready, not when we think it should be ready.
Hmm. So that's the analogy for our own growth, our goals.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The Lotus method teaches the deep importance of cultivating patience. Patience with ourselves, patience with the process, letting things unfold.
Letting go of needing it now. Because trying to rush it just creates more tension, right? More of that resistance we started with.
You got it. Impatience tightens everything up. It hinders progress.
So this final lesson is about finding a sense of calm acceptance of the natural timing of things.
Trusting the process even when you can't see the bloom yet.
Mm-hmm. That's the essence of it.
So, thinking about all this, where are you on this path right now? Are you maybe fighting the current, feeling pulled apart?
Or perhaps feeling ready to try embracing some of this. Maybe just a little bit. Yeah, it's not about a massive overnight change, is it?
Not at all. It's about one small step. Maybe just 5 minutes of quiet today.
Or tackling one task with that focused intention we talked about.
Or just consciously practicing a bit more patience when things feel slow. A gentle reminder to yourself.
And remembering that, like the lotus, your own growth, your own bloom, it will happen.
It might take time. You might have to navigate some, well, muddy waters first.
But it unfolds in its own time.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe a final thought to leave you with is, what's the unique beauty of your unfolding going to look like? What richness comes from your patient journey through whatever lies beneath the surface for you?